and it's rarely that any of them mentioned that the society was engaging in denouncing anti-Semitism. Or at least this is what they made it look like, is that it's all the efforts of the government or there is nothing. But what you mentioned is that there were people who were denouncing anti-Semitism. I think it's very important to highlight this, that a community-based and community-driven type of anti-Semitism, combating anti-Semitism strategy is very effective. Can you elaborate more on who are these people who were denouncing anti-Semitism, what role they might play, how can this be expanded and become even a larger movement to confront the growing number of anti-Semitism?
To tell the truth, in the near past, let's say, the perception of anti-Semitism in the Italian society as a problem was not so high, even in the political at the political level or the cultural level in general. One of the signs of this problem is that at the universities we don't have in Italy programs of Jewish studies, of studies on Holocaust, or studies on anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism was considered something related to the past. Immediately after the events of 1982, and then more and more and more, and with the establishment of the Day of Memory and so on, the connection between the history of Italy and the heavy of anti-Semitism in this history is grown a lot. Maybe one of the roles, the most important roles in the Italian society played by an actor that I can indicate is the official Catholic Church. Because the official Catholic Church, starting from the Nostra Aetate Declaration in 1985, elaborated a new perception of the confrontation between Church and Judaism in general, and produced programs in order to educate Catholic people to a different and more positive perception of Judaism, and also perception of anti-Judaism. So the heavy of the anti-Judaism in the history of the Church and of Catholicism in general. This remain in the high level, in the intellectual level, the basic level. Priests and so on are not really educated in this field, but a work started, and you can see also in Catholic newspapers and communication in general, an attention to what happens to Jews in general, they take care of the Jewish community in general. At the same time, we have a very changing situation in the Italian society at the social level. We had in the last decades an important wave of immigration from North Africa, with the immigration of a lot of Muslim people who are recording in their mind a rhetoric on Judaism that is partly related to the Middle East conflict, partly related to origins of anti-Judaism in the Islamic rhetoric. And the young generation, at the moment, we cannot really understand how deep is the hostility in these groups against Jews or Jewish communities. Also, their knowledge about the Jewish communities and the role of Jewish communities in the Italian history in general. and their perception. We recorded some incidents that are troubling us. For instance, in the last manifestation celebrating the liberation of the Italy against Nazis and fascists, we recorded violent conflict did by very young people coming from, let's say, Muslim origins, but we don't know, with a lot of violence against all people carrying out the flags of the Jewish brigades. That was one of the brigade embedded in the British army that collaborated in the liberation of Italy, that all the time is participating in this manifestation. So there is a conflict of memories. We don't understand what is happening in this society at the moment, with parts of the society that we don't properly know in deep. On the other side, the Jewish communities now in Italy are managed by people that in part is survived not from the Holocaust, but from, let's call Arab pogroms suffered by Jewish communities in North Africa, for instance. The main is Libya. So now the president of the Jewish community in Milan and the president of the Jewish community in Rome, that are the most important Jewish communities in Italy, and the rabbi of the Jewish community, the chief rabbi in Milan, are from Libyan origins. And part of them and their families suffered not only discrimination, real pogroms. So their perception now with the conflicts in the Middle East is completely different from the rhetoric on which it is based. The national strategy against anti-Semitism, the Holocaust history, and so on. So things are changing in the Jewish community, are changing in the Italian society in general, and we don't know properly how the Italian new generation, and I comprise in the Italian new generations also the immigrants, what kind of education they get, what kind of understanding of this memory they can get in school, and what kind of response. So all this stuff is affecting anti-Semitism.
Back to Christianity. Of course, there is, just like there is Islamic anti-Semitism, there is also Christian anti-Semitism. Yet the Vatican doesn't have an office for combating anti-Semitism. They have an office called the Vatican Center for the Religious Relations with the Jews, and I met with the deputy director. I didn't see that much presentation or manifestation of combating anti-Semitism. It's rather more of theological relation between Judaism and Christianity. My question is, what is the level of Christian anti-Semitism in Italy? Since Rome, for example, or the Vatican is the center of Christianity. What is the situation there?
Very high. Is very, very high. Not high at the level of Poland or, let's say, these are out of the scale.
In Poland, it's part of the church's agenda.
Yeah.
Parts of the government's agenda.
You are right. You're perfectly right. Here in Italy, no. But the level of prejudice, of religious prejudice in the Italian society is still very, very high. And from my point of view, the church, the Catholic Church, because the Protestants are another discourse, the Catholic Church is not engaging properly this topic. They remain in the theological level. They organize from time to time events, public events with rabbis and priests and bishops and so on. very, very high discourse,